Okay, this is going to be a quick demonstration of what it takes to go from an idea in your head or an image, in this case an image off of the internet, and create an actual part out of it. And I'm going to pick this image right here. This is a logo for a video game here. It happens to be Half-Life 2, which is a game that I'm very excited to have come out this summer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this picture. It's actually a JPEG image here, which isn't really anything that's appropriate to make a toolpath out of. However, what I'm going to do is actually use this as an image that I'm going to trace over and create a vector outline of, which then can become a toolpath to make a part. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this guy and save the picture, and I'm going to save that onto my E drive here in a temp directory, and I'll call this Half-Life 2 logo. Save that there, and I'll get rid of the Internet Explorer. And over here is a CAD/CAM system. This happens to be Omax layout for Windows that I'm using, and it has a little feature in here specifically for tracing images. So I'm going to click on image tracing, and I am going to load an image for tracing, and I'm going to go over to my E drive and go into the temp directory, and there's our Half-Life 2 logo. Open that up, and you can see now this has become the background of my CAD system, so I can draw on top of it. Now I don't particularly like this ugly orange, because as I'm trying to draw on top of it, it's just going to be a little bit obnoxious. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to adjust the image colors here, pull out a little bit of the red and pull out some green, basically just darken the image a bit so it's not quite so in my face. Okay, so there's the image. So now what I want to do is actually draw on top of this just as if I was using tracing paper. And I'm going to use the 3-point circle command here, so I can click here, here, and here. Now I have a nice circle, and I'm going to draw another circle from the center point of this guy out to here. And I'll do something similar for this corner here. I'm going to go 3-point circle from here to here to there, so I have the correct radius for that curve. And I'm going to draw a line from the tangent point of here to the tangent point of there, and I'll draw another line from the tangent point of here to the tangent point of there. And then I am going to erase, get rid of some of the stuff that I don't really need anymore. Zoom out there, and we're on our way. Next thing I'm going to do is this little Lambda logo here. So I will draw a line from there to there, and I will draw another line, or no, I take that back. I am actually going to cancel that out. I'm going to select that line, and I'm going to copy it from here to here, because by copying it I can assure that the lines are nicely parallel. Nice little trick there. And I'll draw another line from down here to up there. So I'll deselect everything here, and then I'll select this line and copy it from there to there, like so. Okay. And I got to do the same there. Sorry, it's a little boring here. Deselect everything, draw a line. I'll just go from here to here, and I will select that. And by the way, this can go a lot faster if I use the keyboard. So rather than keep moving my mouse back and forth to these things, I'm just going to use the keyboard equivalents, which is really the way this software is designed to be used. Zoom in here, draw a line from there to there, draw another line from there to there, another line from near to there, to perpendicular to there, erase those things, do an intersection divide there, break those guys, do a 0 radius fillet here, I'll trim those down. Let's see, I'll do another couple intersection divides here and here, And erase the stuff we don't need there. Same thing down here. Draw a line from near to here, to perpendicular to there. And draw a line from the end of there to, I can just constrain it here by holding down the shift key to there. Break those two guys. And we have our Lambda logo. Now I could trace this too, but I don't particularly want to do that. So I'm going to choose Windows TrueType font here. Just type in the letter 2 there. Find a font that looks good. I like Arial Normal. I'll make it nice and bold. Oops. I'd say that those two 2's look pretty close. Close enough for me anyway. And I will resize that guy because it's a little bit big. Size it. I'll make it half size. And move it to there. Oh, that's just about right. And maybe I'll make it a, yeah, that's pretty good. Alright. So there we go. Now one thing is, when we're cutting something like this, is we don't want to have the pieces, this little lambda's all by itself, so it's going to fall into the tank. So I'm going to create some little bridges to these corners to hold that in place. Another thing I could do is maybe resize it up and just let the corners touch into here, but I think I like the bridges idea better because it's a little more faithful to the original logo. So to do that, I think I'll just draw a little box that's the size I want. And I guess I can just eyeball that like that. It's probably pretty good. And I'll rotate it like so. Move that down to there. That'll make a nice bridge. Make a copy of it. Bring it over here. Rotate that like so. Move it to there. And copy it up to here. Rotate like so. Move it like so. Break my entities. Not sure if I broke it there, so I'll zoom in just to make sure. There we go. And erase the stuff that isn't what we want. Alright, so there's our logo. So now I'm going to save this guy. Save this. And I will call this, I'm actually going to save that in that same temp directory. Alright, save it as a DXF file. Alright, and I don't care about that. Okay, so there's our drawing. The next thing we need to do is actually create a toolpath. At this point, this is just basic geometry. I don't need my image in the background anymore, so I'll just get rid of that so it's not quite so annoying. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this quality tool here, and I'm going to set the quality of the entire part to quality of 3. What this means basically is just a standard machining quality that you cut 90% of your parts with. I could use quality of 1 if we wanted to make some rough part that comes out very fast, or quality of 5 for some really smooth part, or I could etch it, or and so on. But quality of 3 is a nice general cutting quality. Colors everything purple here. Likewise, I could also make different features, different qualities, if I wanted to optimize my path for depending on what parts are critical for precision and stuff. But this is just a little logo. It's going to be kind of a cool trinket, and quality of 3 is going to look nice and be reasonable precision, so there it is. Next thing I want to do is actually create this into a toolpath. It's still just a drawing. The computer doesn't know what kind of sequence to cut this in, and I am going to just go here, and there's an automatic mode for creating the toolpaths, and come in there, down there, up there, over there. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. Alright, so now it's created a map for the computer to follow. It's still a DXF file though, which is compatible with AutoCAD and stuff, and could have been drawn in AutoCAD for that matter. But now we're going to turn it into an actual path that the machine tool can run. So I'm going to use this path command here, and what it essentially does is traces from endpoint to endpoint of each entity and creates an actual toolpath from that. So I'll just click on the starting point there, and now here's a preview of what that path looks like. This kind of red thing with the dotted line going through it, if I zoom in on that, you can see that it represents the width of the jet, and this dotted line is where the center line of the jet will be. So what it's done is it's actually offset the tool path to the left so that it compensates for the fact that you're not cutting with an infinitely thin beam, but rather a tool that actually has some width to it. And at this point, I'm just previewing to make sure that the part will come out correctly the way I like it with the tool offsets that I might use on the machine. So you can see here I can go up to an 023 pretty easily, so that means any nozzle that I put on the machine it's going to run fine at. So I'm not actually setting the offset, I'm just previewing to make sure it's going to work okay. So I am going to click on Save here, and now that tool path has been saved, ready to be machined. So I'm going to minimize layout there, and I'm actually going to simulate the running here on the controller. So this is what the machine tool controller looks like, and the first thing I'm going to do is click on Change Path Setup here. And I am going to find that part that we did, which I put on the E drive if I remember right. Temp, Half-Life 2 logo, there it is. Alright. You can see that here it's asking me for the material setup. So we are going to do this out of 1/2" aluminum. So I'll find aluminum. Alright, thickness 1/2". Okay. Tool offset 0135, so it's basically half the diameter of my jet, and then I can rotate the part, scale it, and things like that if I want to. And I am going to click on OK. Now the computer is loading the path and calculating all the tool movements. I can hit preview here and see it on the screen, and you can see the different colors here actually represent different cutting speeds. So the areas where it's dark blue are slow, and the areas where it's a lighter yellow are fast areas. And you can see it's thrown in a bunch of optimizations like corner passing and changed my lead-ins and lead-outs to be optimal and such. And the next thing I got to do is I use these things here and I move the nozzle into position so that the nozzle's sitting at the point where this spot in the path would be. And when I'm ready to actually cut the part, I click on Begin Machining, click on Start, and the machine goes to cut the part. So that's pretty much all it is to making the part. I can zoom in here, I can show you what it looks like. So there it's cutting along, and you'll notice that the feed rate changes. You notice this little jet here, as it comes to corners, it slows down and does some funky little things like that to compensate for the fact that you're cutting with a floppy tool. And there's a lot of sophistication built in to do that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much it, and in 3 minutes we'll have your part. And in this case though, I'm just going to stop the video now because we're not really doing this on a real machine, we're just simulating this offline. So here is what the final part looks like.